And that's us live. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Come back. Here we go. All right. Okay. Welcome to another episode of Enlighten Up with Div and Diana. And today's topic, the thing that's present in my experience is we're going to be talking about sexiness. And so I want to preface it. So there's a story that I'll go into and stuff that we'll explore and tease out today. But the which is why this topic is in my mind, and I want to preface it for those that are like, why would you bring this topic up on a episode of Enlighten Up? Well, there's a space for everything, you know. There's a space for everything. I'm reminded of a friend who had posted something about her a photo of her body, and someone had made a comment saying having your tits out isn't spiritual, and someone else had made a comment that it's not spiritual because there's nothing that, you know, isn't. So
having your tits out isn't spiritual has got to be the most amazingly like judgmental, but I'm attempting to sound inspired sentence ever. Wow, I love it. Okay.
So there's this idea that certain things are and certain things aren't, and it's very, very common. It is very common, right? So I feel like we need to address that first and foremost, you know, recognize that everything that happens in the realm of spirit happens in the realm of spirit, and then that contains everything that happens in the material realm as well, which is where our bodies are, which is where sexiness comes from, and all of that. Yesterday, you look like you have a question.
I'm flabbergasted by the idea that you know, my sexiness is very much a part of my spirit. So I'm sort of like reconciling, okay, like where are people up to that they'd be classifying some things as spiritual and some things as not spiritual, as if the spirit and the body don't participate in all things together?
Well, because we live in a society where language compartmentalized, you use the words, and this all the brain and body is as though it's separate, you know, as though mind and like so as if it isn't one system. And I think for those that those of us who tend to think a lot, and I was one of that, one of those that, you know, pre-brain training, the mind was always offering up all kinds of different thoughts and suggestions and whatever else. So
just to say my own judgy thought, for anyone out there that's saying that sex and sexiness has nothing to do with spirituality, you clearly have not had a good enough orgasm, because there is no moment I feel closer to God than when I'm like, baby.
I love it. Okay, awesome. Okay. Perfect.
Let's talk about sex.
Segue. So yesterday, I was a bit impressed with my space holding yesterday, which, because I have such a high bar, that doesn't happen very often for me. Like, it's not often that I walk away and I'm like, I'm impressed with the way that happened. But the way yesterday I was with someone holding space for the context is, there's someone that I serve and have been for some time, and there was someone new who entered the space, and that person expressed a desire and said, I would like for I kind of held space for them to have a vulnerable discussion, a dialogue that they had never had before around desires, what they both actually deeply desire. And it was beautiful, and One, the guy that I don't serve as a client had expressed a desire to explore bodies, both mine and hers, and her response was incredulous. And then there was one comment that she made, it was like, "You'd have to pay me for that." And I noticed inside me, I'm like, oh, I felt hurt when she said that. So I flagged that to look at later. And then later, when I was exploring, so there was hurt that came up with that comment. "You have to pay me for that." What's that about? And the next thing that came to mind was way back when. So you were talking about how people might think spiritual, like sexiness doesn't have a role in spirituality. Well, it's one of those. So rewind to how many years ago was it? Maybe 6. I don't know how many years ago. I have a dear friend who worked at a strip club, as you know, who put herself through, worked through while she was doing her master's in counseling, was working as a stripper. And I had noticed at that time that I had a valuing of the brain over body. I had this disconnect that was like, this is somehow more valuable than this, and I wanted to challenge that. So one of the things that I did was I did a trial at her strip club.
Oh, I remember this story. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you were there when I right, okay. So for viewers, listeners, I had a learning that was like being comfortable with nudity and being sexy are not the same. And I had done this dance, and my partner at the time had made a comment saying, "I would pay you to stop doing that." Right, and this is the thing. These little kind of, it was intended to be a humorous comment, right? But when the observation, the mindfulness, I noticed I felt hurt just now when she made that comment. "Oh, you'd have to pay me for that." And then later, when I'm curiously asking, "What's that about? What's that hurt pointing to?" The remembering of "I'd pay you to stop doing that." And then the next memory that came was actually a coaching session with you when we were talking about sexiness that is mine and not doesn't belong to someone else, that isn't how someone else sees me. Because after that memory was then a memory of the thought, the story, the idea that no one else will ever desire me the way that my previous partner did. No one else will ever desire me in that way. No one else could. He's the only one who could ever possibly find me sexy. Right? And so I observed that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I observed that thought. I had that thought, and then I remembered the coaching conversation where you're like, that what would you do for you? If sexy was something you were doing. So then I thought, okay, let me get some. Let me reach out to some people and get some
Yeah.
people. So I reached out to 2 different people who have, on previous occasions, either expressed to me that they had experienced some desire for me or something of the sorts, and both of their responses, one was like, "Oh well," basically was saying it didn't have anything to do with your body. It was just you were the first person I ever felt unconditionally loved by, and I just in my mind that there was she we have to get together because I didn't know another way. So he was basically just saying, like, I liked the way I felt around you. And then the other person that I spoke to was also saying it really didn't have anything to do with your body so much as, you know, that where I was up to, you know, I don't think anybody's body would have had that effect. It was, you know, his comment was, it was about me and what I chose to see. So I had this kind of realization that equally so, and it was important for me to collect these pieces of that. I knew that her comment, you'd have to pay me for that, had more to do with her own stories and judgments and preferences and whatever about it's not okay to be a lesbian or whatever. Her yeah.
So much fun to be a lesbian, but whatever.
We each have a different reality, and so that was more in hers, and so having recognized that, but it really wasn't until I spoke to these other two people that I got the flip side that was like, they desired me, and also it had nothing to do with me. It was, do you understand? It was, both of those experiences was about what they were choosing to experience in themselves, what they wanted to experience in themselves. It really didn't have anything to do with me. So it was getting that real feedback from them, like reaching out to them, that's like, okay, I have a question. Can you give me some, like, tell me what it was you desired? And both of them offering me that, it kind of, something shifted, and it was, in the second conversation, one of the things that he shared that he does to feel sexy is that it's wearing lingerie, and underneath, like, he enjoys wearing, when he's wearing women's underwear, he feels really sexy, and he feels like that's like, I've got this secret nobody knows about, and that's one of the things that he does to feel sexy. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so for me, I realized that a lot of, like, to feel sexy, has a lot to do with having skin exposed, which in Bali, no problem, but in winter here, when I'm very rare, like when I'm bundled up, I'm like,
how many layers are you wearing right now?
Well, I'm wearing 1, 2, 3, 4 layers on top.
Yep.
Like,
I still don't understand how you're cold all the time, but okay, we'll save that for another day.
And the air comes on 30 degrees, and so it's like, I don't get to.
I have my door open and I'm wearing a top. Like,
I know, I can't explain why the body likes to just want to be warm. Anyway,
we'll save that for another day.
So that's what's current in my experience.
Okay. Is there like a question? Am I chiming in with my reflections? Like,
yeah.
All right. Well, I have a suspicion that my understanding of sexy might be very, very different to yours, because of these beautiful things here, breasts, they came in for me at a very young age, which meant I was ogled at a very young age when I didn't understand what that was, right? Like,
right.
And so for me, from that perspective, I didn't feel attractive or sexy in any way, but people were recognizing, seeing large breasts and going, oh, that's sexy. And so for a very long time, I have known that there is a complete difference between sexy and being viewed as sexually attractive.
Well, that objectification, that's what the second person spoke to when he was saying, oh, by that stage, didn't matter what your body was, I was past objectifying people for their bodies. It was an energetic thing. It was, we had an energetic connection.
I personally still, like, Do I need to find the other body physically attractive to find them attractive? No. Do I express, yep, I find your package awesome when I do? Absolutely. Do I love when people like, I like your package too? Hells yeah. Do I need them to like my package to be attracted to me? No. But like, there is definitely that thing where there is a slight association that if you find the physical attractive, it is objectification, and it's like lower than a real spiritual, emotional, sexual attraction. But they're actually just different forms of the same energy.
Yeah. I'm not demeaning one. I'm just
Would you like to be objectified?
well, I did used to be objectified by my partner, and I did like it from him. I did used to be particularly objectified by my partner, and so it was this realization of I would wear certain things that I knew he would like, because I would like the way his eyes lit up when he would see me in those things, and that was the game. And so what I was focusing on yesterday was like, what's the adjustment that I need to make, because this hurt wouldn't be coming up if there was an adjustment, right? The emotion wouldn't be cueing me to something if there wasn't some adjustment to make. And it was the sense of something to realize, something to release, something that doesn't serve to let go of, or and it was a sense of, well, now there's an opportunity to do sexy in a new way that's more sovereign, that's more about how I do it. And before it was I'm
remembering this session now when I challenged you, how do you do sexy when no one's looking?
And I was like, I have no idea.
That was the reaction you had. You were just like, you can't do sexy without someone else in the room. And I was like, yeah.
And so it's an energy. It's an energy that I'm still relatively unfamiliar with, because I didn't grow up in a sex positive household.
Okay.
Sex positive meaning there's a willingness to talk about it and in a non-shameful way.
No, me and my mom have had some very graphic discussions that, I see what you're referring to. Yeah.
Along those lines, like for instance, when I first started menstruating, I thought I was dying because I wasn't told what it was. I genuinely thought I was dying. I had no concept of, like,
my mom bought me a cake.
So so it's a different kind of energy than, and a lot of people associate, because there's an association between love and sex. So I've had this in the past where people feel unconditional love for me, that's there in my energy, and then they associate that with sex.
Yeah.
That's
I'm like, it goes the other way. You have sex with someone and they're like, you must love me. Not necessarily.
What's that?
It also goes the other way. Sometimes you have sex with someone and then they're like, oh, you must love me. I'm like, sure. Not the way you're thinking. We need to have a chat now. Yeah, that's been a fun one that happens to me. Yeah, I guess what I'm reflecting on is, what do I do? Because I am very, very, like, I could wander around this house in sexy energy with no one else there, and I guarantee you there is a sexual energy in myself and a sexiness when I do that. I'm just trying to reflect. Well, I don't know if I can teach you. I can only share what I do.
Yeah.
So there are like certain outfits that, like that is one way to tap into that energy. For me, it's any of my lace thongs. If I'm wandering around in just a lace thong, I am feeling damn fine. And thigh-high stockings are the other one. Those are the two that I'm like, I put those things on, I'm like, yeah, baby, I'm sexy. That being said, I could also quite comfortably wander around in sweats and a baggy t-shirt and still feel sexy. And I think it's to do, I'm just trying to like, what is it that I'm doing? It's a body appreciation, an appreciation of my own physical senses and sensitivity. There's a sense of holding the energy deep within the body, closer to the sex center. And it actually does have a lot of like compassion and love from myself to my own body and the things it can do. That brings a lot of sexiness for me.
Yeah, that's there in my experience. The sincere appreciation for the body, like, thank you, beautiful vehicle. And still, I don't.
But it's slightly more than that. It's not thank you, beautiful vehicle, because I mean it is a beautiful vehicle, but it's also, you know, touching yourself, feeling your own, like I've been doing this while we're talking about being sexy, and like just the fact that my body can feel all those things, I'm just like, oh yeah.
Again, I don't associate that with, like, I have this sensitive, like I hug myself, particularly in the winter. I hug myself a lot, you know, all the time, regularly. But just that it's not a sensitivity issue. I'm like, there is something about the energy of this sexual, and it might just be that I you know, well, I haven't teased out what exactly it is. Maybe I'm not willing to like, it's an energy. It's just an energy. So it's a matter of like, how do we mindfully manage all of our energies, right?
Yeah.
And and I haven't really had so much issues managing this energy, you know, previously.
I'm just sort of thinking, because like I'm very comfortable in my sexy energy. Most of the times that I'm not 100% comfortable in my sexy energy is actually around other people. Because there is a difference to me between me being sexy and feeling sexy and sexual attraction. Sometimes I'm sort of like, please don't look at me that way, even if I'm feeling sexy. That's not something I would like from your energy. And I'm just kind of like compartmentalizing what are the differences and stuff. Because like, I mean, to share one of the lovely backhanded compliments I get all the time, I never knew I could be so sexually attracted to a big woman, is one of the ones that I have had many a time, because this ass ain't small and I'm 100% aware of that. And I have asked for feedback, because why not? And the feedback that I get is like, basically you don't behave like you're overweight. And I'm all, yeah. I have done enough data mining and research to understand what they're trying to say. So what they're trying to say is
low self-esteem.
Pardon?
Low self-esteem?
Well, no, for a lot of people that are overweight, because we have so much body shame around being overweight in our society, they cover what they have. They tend to shrink, be small. You know, they're not standing openly and proudly of their bodies. I mean, you've seen me on stage. I grab my tits and my ass and go like that at my fanny all the time. Like, I do not act in a self-conscious or kind of shameful way about my body, because I don't see it as shameful. Having been morbidly obese and then anorexic and then everything else in between, yo-yo dieting for years, the fact that my body's at a steady weight, I feel comfortable in it, and this is amazing and that's amazing. You can't see it, but it is great. I'm very comfortable now with where my body is. I'll flash my ass if you want me to, but I feel like that might be a little but yeah, like I am, and because of that, it's not confidence, it's comfort. It's not, and it's the difference between like, oh, I have a great body, and oh, I love my body and I'm comfortable with it, and it doesn't have to be the world's best body. It's like a slight difference in thought. I'm not strutting around like, oh, this is amazing, look at these, and look at, well, I do that a little bit, but like mostly it's just that I'm really comfortable in my own skin, and that is attractive.
Well, I genuinely think I have the world's best body for me. Like,
yeah.
there's an element
for comfort. Me. That's what I'm saying. Like,
there's the comfort in that. There's more to it than that. There must be, because, or Or is there something I'm like,
Just trying to think.
there's something I'm missing here? Because I guess what I'm saying is, am I doing sexy without even knowing it? Or is there something I am missing here that I like?
I do sexy a lot without intending to do it, and that is super.
What's that?
Cool. I have done sexy many a time without actually meaning to do sexy. That's an interesting one. That does happen. So what we're trying to figure out is, are you already doing sexy, or are you missing something about the sexy? Is that the question? I still don't know what the question is. Sorry, I'm just thinking about
the question is, how do I do sexy? Is the question. How do I do sexy?
Okay, how do you do sexy? How do you do sexy? Because it is different for everyone. Like, I mean, in the broad spectrum of sexual interests, it's not like this. It's like you can't fit it on a screen. There is so much variety in sexy and sexual interest.
So one would be in having skin exposed, which so I guess how can I do it in the winter in Australia when it's too cold?
Well, what is it about the skin exposed? Like less the actual.
Like I don't know what it is. There's this like, I feel sexy when there's skin exposed, and I don't expose any skin in the winter.
Okay, well, we'll pay attention. Focus on what is the actual feeling you have in your body when your skin is exposed.
Sun on my skin, air on my skin, like the feeling of it's the elements, I guess.
Yeah, the sensory feedback of the environment kind of thing. Like yeah. See, for me, I have the same thing, and I would refer to it as the realization that the body is feeling the world.
Yeah.
And being in contact with the touch senses, like the feel of warmth, the feel of cold, the feel of a light touch, the feel of a hard grab. Like
maybe it's just that being cold just doesn't feel sexy to me.
It can be if you both have to get under the covers.
Oh, we're like, if I'm doing this on my own just energetically, then yeah. Any more about that? Anything else to say about this energy of sexy? Anything else before we wrap up today's episode? I just wanted to give some space to explore that concept.
I guess the one thing that I know to be true is that sexy has nothing to do with the clothes, the appearance, any of that stuff. That stuff can help us tap into what us feeling sexy. But whether it's your size or, the shape of your boobs, like none of that stuff actually makes you sexy and sexually attractive and all that kind of stuff. There is this other thing, and all those things help us tap into it, whether they remind us of something or they help us feel in a certain way. But I'd say none of that is actually sexy. It's like, what's the word I'm using? It's like when you click like a button and a whole thing happens behind it. Those things are just like the button. They're just the trigger to the energy, but they're not the thing itself.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much like the name of the emotion is labeled to all the physiological sensations that are actually happening, that we're labeling that emotion. Yeah. Like, okay, so that's actually really useful. Pointing to that is, I'll do the same way I would, I'll do a sensory audit on sexy. I first have to tap into it first and then do it. And I recognize it definitely has something to do with warmth. But sensory audit is like when, you know, what's going on in the vision, what's going on in what are you hearing, what's going on in all five senses when you're in this energy, this experience. So I will find a time where I'm in it, and if I then do an audit, because once we do that, then we know how to elicit it. Then we know how to elicit it, you know, because it's like, oh, this is what I'm doing in my senses, and then I can pull it up whenever I want, like a shortcut key. Yeah, maybe even create an anchor for it. Yeah.
I definitely have a sexy anchor that I've purposely installed, and I tell certain partners about it. Just like, if ever I'm sort of down on myself, don't forget this thing, and I'll come back to, oh yeah, sexy goddess, right? Gotta remember that. So I highly suggest it. It's very fun.
I'm curious where you installed yours. Just told the interrupts. Okay. All right. Well, let us wrap up.
I'm just told the entire internet, but shoot, it's a secret.
Classic comedian move. Let's keep this between us.
Let's keep this between us and the entire world that I tell all my secrets to. So actually, I had a great one the other day. Someone asked me, is there anything you're ashamed of? And I was like, no. And they're like, but I've heard your stories. Like, aren't you ashamed of some of the things? Like, I've watched all your videos. And I was like, yeah, pretty sure if I was ashamed of any of those things, I wouldn't be telling them to hundreds of people a couple of times a week. And also, like, what does shame... Actually, there's a topic for another day. What is the point of shame? Like, if you feel shame...
Yes, good for tomorrow. Let us speak on
we'll
that.
save it tomorrow.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Let us speak on shame tomorrow. Good. Excellent.
Okay.
All right.
Talk to you tomorrow. And
Bye
all of
now.
you, internet. Got to remember, other people are watching.
Thanks for tuning in.